Hello, hi, and welcome. If this is your first video, my name is Caressa, and welcome to another Book Unhaul. I'm revved up and ready to go, although I'm not sure how long that'll last because this shelf is going to be a challenge. Real quick before we get started, if you're interested in watching the rest of the Unhaul series, I have a link to all the individual videos down below, as well as a playlist of everything starting with part 1, ending with whatever part we're on. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna make a very big and radical decision here in the very beginning, and I am going to get rid of the entire Vampire Academy series, as well as Bloodlines and The Golden Lily, which I believe are companion books to the Vampire Academy series. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm never gonna read this series. Never really been interested in this series, to be honest with you. I just collected them because I have a problem. Anyway, so this entire series is going, which makes me feel good because I'm not sure how many of the rest of these books are actually gonna go out the door. Alright, I have scooted over the remaining books, so hopefully you can see them a little better. Jumping in real quick to tell you that there is mentions of self-harm for the next 2 minutes. No detailed descriptions, anything like that, but I will be mentioning it for the next 2 minutes. Okay, so the first book we have here is Cut by Patricia McCormick. This is a book that I read in middle school, and that was before I got Goodreads, so I don't have any review about this book, or any rating, or any details to go off of. But I will say I read this book at a time where it was very important to me. It follows a teenager who engages in self-harm while she's at a clinic and they're trying to help her with that. I vaguely remember being kind of disappointed in the end of this book. There's a big reveal where the reason she cuts seems trivial. A lot of people who read this book on Goodreads feel that way, but I also think that things affect people differently, and something that may not seem like a big deal to me or you can be a very big deal to someone else. So I'm not gonna say that it was misplaced or ill executed or anything like that. I just remember that I read this book at a time where I needed to read a book like this because of my relationships with other people who were self-harming, and for the most part I think it was okay. I think it was well done. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this book. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it because I would like to revisit it and see if I still feel the same way. I don't know that there are a ton of stories about this particular topic, and I think it's really important for a middle school audience. I know that I was dealing with friends dealing with this issue at the time, and it seemed very big and important, and I wanted to engage in more media that talked about those issues. So I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna revisit it and see how I feel once I reread it. Now we're up to Lauren McDaniel. I have 3 books by her, the last of which is A Rose for Melinda. A Rose for Melinda is one of my favorite ballet books, although I will say I read it in middle school, and that is my basis for it. Middle school was kind of an intense time for me. Things were very intense, and this is a very intense book to pair with it. It is about a dancer who gets leukemia, but it was one of my favorite books back in middle school, and I would like to keep it. 2 middle school books back to back. But I also have these 2 books by Lauren McDaniel. One is I'll Be Seeing You, and the next one is Too Young to Die. You know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these. I do like Lauren McDaniel's book that I read, and I think that she does that well. I will say I think I would have enjoyed them if I had read them in a timely manner in middle school. I think they're not what I'm looking for in books anymore. That's what I'll say. If I don't see myself picking it up now, there's no reason to keep it, you know? Past Caressa is not gonna suddenly appear and want to read these books, you know? If I don't see myself picking it up now, then I'm gonna pass it along to someone who can read it at a time that is appropriate for them. Okay. Oh, this one's gonna hurt. This is a swagalicious. Excuse me, I'm talking. This is a swag heavy book. It is signed. It has bookmarks. It's very cool. I went to a book festival, and one of the things that I kept hearing about prior to the book festival is A Madness So Discreet is so chilling. It's so amazing. You've got to read it. So you may have surmised that this is a chilling psychological horror type story. Yeah, I knew that. And I knew it wasn't for me when I bought it, but I was standing right there next to the author, and she offered to sign it for me. And everyone was saying such positive things about it. I slipped and tripped and bought it. And I don't think it's gonna be for me, because it never really was for me. A twisted historical thriller. Yeah, that's just really not for me. Okay, this is a special book. I will find a special place for it, or you know, when I take it to the bookstore, I'll just tell them it's special. It's got to go somewhere else. I'm never gonna read it. Can't just hoard things that I'm not gonna read. It's unhinged. Okay, now we're up to Beautiful Disaster. This is one of the original books on my want to read Goodreads list. I don't like this new Goodreads setup. Are y'all Storygraph? Because listen, I would love to move to Storygraph. I love supporting independent websites. I just feel like I've invested so much time and energy in Goodreads. You know, like I was the original Goodreads advocate, you know, 2010, 2011, like listen guys, you gotta get a Goodreads. And there are still people I know who use it regularly that I recommended it to them. But Storygraph could be the new thing, you know? Just because you were the first at something doesn't mean you're the best or the permanent lasting empire. I hate supporting Amazon, I really do. Okay, there was a lot of hype for this book in 2011, 2012. No surprise that I took an interest in it, but I will say it's new adult, which I hate. New adult is young adult, but smutty. It's pretty thick and it is a romance. It's about a bad boy who falls for a good girl who maybe isn't so good. You know, I understand why I added it because it was a highly hyped book, but I know myself a little better now, and I know this isn't something that I'm going to look forward to or pick up soon. I'm going to get rid of this one. Man, you know, last shelf I was like, I don't know, I'm going to keep everything. And this shelf I'm like, gotta eat it all. I'm a little more decisive. I'm very happy today. I had a fabulous evening, so that makes a difference, you know. Now we're up to Clone Codes by the McKissacks. Okay, so I think I read this book and I actually enjoyed it. I am going to verify that on Goodreads. I did read this book. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I said it was an easy, fun, if predictable read. More accurately described as a children's novel, and that I really enjoyed it. I just wouldn't consider it hard reading and didn't feel it lived up to the potential of the idea. It's weird how sometimes when you initially read and review a book, you feel a certain way, and then 6 months later you remember something different. It's very bizarre. I usually feel pretty strongly that my reviews are accurate and that I would feel that way to this day, but the memory of something is often different than the actual thing itself. Anyway, since I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars, even though I enjoyed it and enjoyed the storyline, I think I will pass it on to someone else. Not something I think I will revisit. Okay, I truly am getting rid of so many things and I'm very impressed. Okay, so now we have The Weight of Feathers by Anna Marie McLemore. Okay, so this was a gift. I feel bad getting rid of it. However, it's a romance. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. And I just don't see myself picking it up. I am going to release this book, into the wild. No, into the local indie bookstore. I'm gonna let this book go. I don't have to keep the thing to keep the memory. I appreciate the thought. It brought me joy at the time, and now I'm passing it along. Okay, so we're up to Lisa McMahon's Wake series. That is Wake, Fade, and Gone. I actually went to a signing with Lisa McMahon and Cassandra Clare. However, I did not get my books signed because I didn't own them yet and I hadn't read them yet. I did read them after the fact, and I thought they were interesting. I will have to reference my review to tell you any more than that. 4 stars, pretty good. Ooh, okay. There's a whole review for Fade. It's a chunky one. Alright, it appears I never read the 3rd book in the series. But I gave the first book 4 stars and said the 2nd book takes all the things I didn't like in the first book and makes them the focus of the story. I also said that I never particularly enjoyed romance-based books. Baby Arrow Ace Cressa, she don't even know the half of it. But I don't see myself revisiting it anytime soon. That's it. We have quite a large Lisa McMahon section here. I'm really alarmed at how many books we got rid of. Honestly, I'm a little alarmed. I kept so many last shelf though. Maybe it's balancing itself out. Alright, okay, so next we have Pryor's Cross. Yeah, it's scary. It's going. Just can't do it. I just can't do it. So next we have book 1 and book 3 and the Unwanted series. These are by Lisa McMahon, as many of the books we have just seen are. I have been so interested in this. A lot of people are really upset, primarily because on the front cover it says The Hunger Games meets Harry Potter. That's a big legacy to live up to. But I've been interested in this for a long time. And I got rid of a lot of books. And I'm feeling a little bit of whiplash. So I'm going to go ahead and keep these. It's middle grade and I could see myself picking it up. Okay, we have yet another series by Lisa McMahon. This is the Vision series. We have book 2 and book 3. Book 2 is called Bang and book 3 is Gas. Book 1 is called Crash, apparently, but I do not own it. So this series seems somewhat in the vein of the Wake series. However, this one involves visions instead of dreams. And I'm just not interested. I enjoyed Wake well enough. But this seems kind of like a darker take on that, and I just don't need to keep darker books because I won't read them. Plus I don't have the first book, so it would be hard for me to pick it up without getting the first book first. Okay, we are up to Mindy McGinnis, The Visitor. This is definitely a book I have read and had for a long time. However, I do not know if I will have a review on it. I stand corrected, it is by Mary McManus, and I have the remnants of the cover here. Beautiful cover. I'm going to set this aside to ask my mom about it. It's just old enough that I want to make sure it's not super important to our family, although I doubt it. I think I bought it at a used bookstore for $3.95. This is classic used bookstore stuff. It seems like something I would have really enjoyed as a kid. So yes, I will set this aside to ask about it, and then I will make a decision based on that. Last, but certainly not least, this is Everything That Makes You by Mariah McStay. I bought this book full price. I know, gasp. Horror. I bought this book because I was fascinated with this idea of 2 canons, parallel universes, things like that. In this book there is a version of her who has gone through an accident, and there's a version of her that has not, and follows both stories. I just thought that was so interesting. As a kid I was just determined to find someone to write a book with me, and then we would break off and continue the series separately, make multiple canons. Okay, not glowing reviews. It's kind of mixed. A lot of people say this book is not that fascinating once the novelty wears off, but I am going to go ahead and keep it. First of all, because I paid full price for it. Second of all, because that means I'm keeping 5 books on this shelf, which is not a lot. I think it was the right thing to do, but it was a little bit extreme. And also, I'm interested in the premise, and people say that it's done well, just that the characters aren't very likable. So I am going to keep it. I will explore it, see how I feel about it. Thanks so much for sticking around for this very extreme addition to my grand tour of a book unhaul for 2022, which may bleed into 2023. Subscribe if you want to see more, and like if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.